John Corelli, your average guy with his average guy opinion. I believe we're on episode 55. I'm getting a little ahead. I kind of front loaded for the weekend, so I'm doing a lot of episodes on the weekend, so I can go easy this week and just slide them out uh, day by day, or I might just pile them all out at the same time. I don't know, but I wanted to talk about some cool stuff I've done. So I've talked about my world travels, which aren't as extensive as I'd like, but like I said, I've done some cool stuff, and this episode is about cool stuff I've done. So to start off, I would like to talk about the fact that I have done I've sky dove, divin. I don't know what the past tense of skydiving is, but I've done it twice. I did it once in 1989 when I was all of 21 years old with my four friends, and that was a lot of fun. A little frightening, but fun. And then I did it back in 2011, right after I got back from India. So that was kind of cool. So that's a cool thing I've done. It's quite an experience. And I didn't do it tandem like some pussy. I jumped out of the plane all by my lonesome after a day of training. So yeah, I'm not calling tandem divers pussies. Well, I sort of am. Anyway, I'm an asshole. Average asshole opinions. But yeah, so you go in a single engine plane. It's usually four or five of you up in there. There's the pilot. There's a guy called the jump master who tells you what to do, even though you've been trained what to do. It's pretty easy once you know what to do. Then there's usually you and another jumper. Sometimes a couple jumpers. And like my first time in 1989 was kind of crazy because my friend Troy and I, my best friend on the planet, we're in there, got jump master pilot, and a third guy, like this dude probably in his 50s, with this bright chartreuse, like lime green with pink stripes jumpsuit. And then he was going on his very first jump where you pull your own cord. We did static line. I'll explain what that is in a second. But yeah, so this guy jumps. He's a big dude. He was about the maximum. I think the maximum you can be to jump is 225, maybe 200 pounds. But he was right around there. And what you do is you get out, you use the steps of the plane, and you grab the strut with the little wing support, and you kind of just let your body hang. And then when the jump master says go, you just let go, and you yell arch, and your parachute deploys, and you check your lines, and you steer your way down. And this guy, like I said, this is going to be the first time he's ripping his own cord, going free fall. And it was from 4,000 feet, so you got to know what you're doing, and he had trained and everything, but unfortunately he probably panicked or just did something wrong, and he grabbed the wrong cord, and he grabbed the emergency chute, so it went straight to the emergency chute. Now, back then, I assume it's the same now, the difference is when you can get a square chute as your first chute, and that's way easier to control. Round chutes, it's like back in World War II. It's a round chute. You can't do anything with that. You can't steer. You're going where the chute's taking you. So this guy went straight to his round chute. We saw it deploys. When you release that second chute, it jettisons everything so it doesn't get in the way of the emergency chute. We just see this fucking, it looks like a backpack floating in the air with no dude. And I'm looking at Troy going, "You're next." Like, are we still jumping? Did the guy just die? And the jump master eventually told us, but I think he gave us 30 seconds just for the fun of it. And actually, I think they were kind of freaked out too. It's like, oh Jesus, what would this guy do? But they figured out that, okay, no, he's way over there already because the wind took him a little ways away. And then I watched my best friend jump out of the plane, then I jumped out of the plane. And it's pretty crazy. It's exhilarating and terrifying at the same time. But it was pretty cool. I did it, and then I did it again in 2011, probably part of my midlife crisis amongst going to India and cheating on my wife. So yeah, so I've done that twice. That's kind of cool. I've climbed a few 14ers. I've climbed 4 in total. For those of you that don't live in Colorado or know what a 14er is a 14,000 foot peak. Usually it's not too bad. There are some that are rough. There are some that aren't too rough. And generally, we're already at a mile high in Denver, and then you usually, by the time you get to the trailhead, it's usually another mile you've traveled in elevation. So you usually got to do anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 feet in elevation, but it's not easy. And luckily, living at a mile high, that's helpful. But yeah, I did Long's Peak right after I got back from from Europe in '93 with my friend Chris. I got a great panoramic shot. I might use it as a screenshot. I might do the one with me in my parachute gear. We'll figure it out. But that was really cool. So and the Longs Peak is tough. Longs Peak is like a 16-mile hike total. Go 8 up and 8 down. Like I said, when we were 25, we're in really good shape. We summited in 5 hours, which is really good. Usually it takes 7 or 8 for the average person, but we were in great shape and young, and we did it. It was still brutal, still tiring as hell, and hard on my knees, but it was great. Then I ascended Torrey's and Gray's peaks separately with my brother Sean. That was probably about 15 years ago, probably in the early 2000s. That was kind of cool. And then about 4 years ago with Troy, we did Bierstadt, Mount Bierstadt, which is really close to Mount Evans. But we didn't take, you can go to Mount Evans and then saddle back over to Bierstadt, but that's pretty easy because you can just drive up to Mount Evans, like a quarter-mile hike to summit. It's not even a true 14er to most people. But we did Bierstadt off, I think, the north side, and that was tough. It's only a 3.5 mile hike, but you gain like 5,000 in elevation, something insane like that. It's a lot. And at 49, I was like, that might be my last one, unless I just do the easy ones like Mount Evans and some of the what they call the Ivy League peaks down south. I think some of those are kind of easy, but I think my mountain climbing days are done. I still like going for hikes and stuff. I sound like I'm on Tinder or something. I like going for hikes, and I really like a surf and turf, whatever. So that's another cool thing I've done. Let's see, comedy's cool. Like doing comedy. I've done that for 12 years. Often not very well and very sporadically. I've technically done it for 12 years, but like the first 2 years I did it a few times a year. When I got divorced, I did it a lot just to not think about being divorced. And then once I got my kids back full time, obviously that's pared down, and now I just do it once a week. And I host my mic in downtown Denver, which goes pretty well most of the time. Really like doing it. Wrote a book, and I will probably do a video on the book I wrote. It's just published it about a year ago, and it's 80,000 words, so it's respectable length. It's a novel. It's about this black vice cop who is involved in a shooting of a white special needs adult, which hits home with me because obviously, if you've heard me talk about my son Dante, he's 23 years old, lives with me, and has pretty severe autism. And this guy was basically me if I were a black vice cop. So I tried to kind of do background stories that I had heard growing up when it came to how do I want to put it, just racial things that happened to this guy. I mean, I would hear, as a kid growing up, I heard some people say pretty horrible things because they're like, well, you're white, so you're on our team. Not as much as you think. I mean, I'm on your team because I'm also white, but I'm not on the team that thinks it's okay to throw the N-word around the house and tell terrible racist jokes and just be okay with it. I'm not that guy. So, yeah. Anyway, so I've written a book, done 14ers. I'm trying to think of some other cool stuff I've done. Maybe I haven't done that much cool stuff. Comedy, mountain climbing. My job is cool, and maybe I'll do a 10-minute on that someday where I get to work with special needs kids. I used to work at an elementary school. I'm sure I've alluded to these things in past videos, but hopefully, well, if you have seen all my videos, maybe I need to give you a prize or something. I don't know. If you have, hit me up. Tell me in the comments because you're amazing, and I'm very thankful for your listenership, viewership, or whatever this is. But yeah, I do, now I work in a high school, but for 5.5 years I worked at an elementary school with special needs kids. Obviously, Dante had a lot to do with that. That's part of the reason I'm pretty good at it, because I was a parent, was a parent of such a child. What else? I don't know. I'm also raising my 16-year-old, and Logan is probably a trans gender person, but we don't know yet. I'm going to put that in the we don't know camp and just try to be patient with that and see where Logan wants to go with that. It's really hard for me to call Logan they, and I made that clear to Logan. So I'm going with Logan. I'm trying not to call Logan a boy, because the first 15 years of this kid's existence, he was a boy to me and the outside world. But Logan's going his own way. We're going to figure it out. And so yeah, that's some cool stuff I've done. It's kind of sad that I can't think of more. I'm sure there's got to be some more cool stuff. But hey, those were the highlights. That's a 10-minute filler. I'll probably talk about my book next time and maybe read some excerpts and try not to cry. All right. Thanks, you guys. See you next time. Bye.